Welcome to the Athlete's Compass podcast. Join us each week as sports scientist and founder of Athletica AI, Dr. Paul Larson, athlete, coach, and sports scientist Mariana Rakai, coach and cyclist Paul Warloski, and everyday athletes discuss training, racing, and improving health and fitness. Get ready for your journey to peak performance. Hello and welcome to the Athlete's Compass podcast, where we navigate training, fitness, and health for everyday athletes. Today is special. We get to interview Bartolomew Buczek from Poland for our Everyday Athlete segment of the show. Bart recently finished the notoriously challenging Lanzarote Ironman course in just over 10 hours, a remarkable time that landed him 7th in his age group. So today, Bart, can you tell us about your athletic background and what initially got you into endurance sports?
Sure. So hi, I'm Bart, and basically, I don't have any kind of athletic background, especially at university. After high school, I just simply was sitting and partying, probably. So not much sport at all. Basically, I've got what you called, I think it's pituitary tumor.
Pituitary.
Yeah, it's like brain tumor, basically. Yeah.
Wow.
So I had that one, and when you're like signing the papers that you can like lose your vision or whatever, I started thinking that I probably should do something with myself if I get through that. It was like 12 years ago. I was pretty overweight because back then I was like 104 kilos, which is like 230 pounds back then. And basically surgery went fine. I already bought like my first bike at auction, and I couldn't train for like a month because of the surgery. I had to like lay down probably and rest like for a month. But I was just like watching the bike, and I was like waiting to start training or start whatever. And about the triathlon, it's like I always knew how to swim pretty well. And my friend from work asked me if I want to do a marathon with him. Yeah, I was like, yeah, let's do that. Yeah. So basically, after we finished marathon, he was like, "You know how to swim, yeah?" And I was, "Yeah." "And you have a bike?" And I was like, "Yeah, I have. So maybe you should try triathlon." Yeah, that's how it started, basically.
That is amazing. Honestly, like think about your transition, right, Bart, from being on death's doorstep. You said you were overweight, is that right?
Yeah. It was like 25 kilos, almost overweight.
Yeah, and maybe like if I can just keep asking on that, did you have any idea that you could be an athlete? I mean, your time in Lanzarote, which is one of the most difficult Ironmans on the entire Ironman circuit. I know that because my athlete, Andy Boucher, that was his final race before he retired, and that's that is just an incredibly hard race. And what was your overall placing in that one, Bart?
I don't really remember.
Well, your top looked like you were top 50 though, right?
Yeah. That's definitely, it was like maybe 40, something like that.
Yeah.
I guess.
Wow.
I mean, it's just a remarkable performance that you did. Like you would have, like, reflecting back, you would have no idea that was possible probably in you. Is that right?
No. The initial goal was basically not even like lose the weight. I just wanted to bike faster and run faster. And like I started obviously losing weight, etc. And then it comes like I just enjoyed it, yeah.
But this is my point, is that everyone, we walk around, we're in this group, right, in Athletica users, where we typically are, we look at least the part of being pretty healthy looking, and we might look at others and think that they don't necessarily have the capacity, but they do. Everyone's an athlete. Everyone has this capability, but so many of us are stuck in this situation where we're constantly, metabolically unhealthy. And yeah, it's just, my hat's off to you, Bart. And I love your story. I had no idea that your transition was from a brain tumor, being metabolically unhealthy, on death's doorstep, to what you achieved. It's just remarkable.
It is such an amazing story. Thank you for sharing that. how long after the surgery that you thought Ironman was possible? Because Ironman it's just so far from, getting healthy to actually doing it.
Initially, I was like really focused, like I want to do an Ironman eventually. And I wanted to do it like after like maybe 2 or 3 years. But then I got into like a triathlon club. And basically I started training with them, and there was like more of the 70.3s, etc. So I've done the first Ironman, I feel like 6 years ago. I think it was 6 years ago in Barcelona. And basically I remember that I was like, it was like, the first Ironman is really hard. Like it is hard, yeah, especially on the run. And the last 10 kilometers, I was like thinking, oh my God, I will never do that again. Yeah. And like right after I finished that, and I basically, for the record, on my first Ironman, I had like 9 hours and 7 minutes. So I never imagined that I will break even 10 hours. And I did 9:07. I was like, I really like, well, it got to my head like after like an hour or two after the competition, after I finished. But my friend came in and I was like, yeah, we should do another next year. Yeah. It was like a really switch of, of thinking, like during the competition, like, oh my God, never again. Yeah. Or maybe I was like thinking, maybe my bike chain will break and I don't have to finish or something like that. Yeah. But this was like hilarious. Yeah, like 2 hours later, I was like, yeah, I'm signing for the next one. And I actually signed out. Like the next day, I signed for Ironman Italy for the next year. So, but that's kind of like, what was it, I would say.
So just to be clear, your first Ironman that you did, you finished in 9 hours.
Yeah, 9:07. And 3 years ago, I have a goal to break 9 hours, and I broke 9 hours. So my personal best is like 8:58 right now.
You must have some great genetics behind you.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think so, because because I have few friends who basically can, like, stood up from the couch and they are like running much faster than I. And in 4 weeks, they can achieve like really good goals. They have probably a really good VO2 max, etc. For me, it was always like consistency and consequence. So basically, if I'll do like 90% of the plan, which like either Athletica or a coach or whoever subscribe to me, I think that's the key. Yeah, you have to like to hit at least like the 90% of the goal, and obviously not bury yourself. If you feel not right, then you should probably slow down. If you feel good, then you can like go above a little bit. But it should be like I'm 12 years into this sport, so I learned probably I lost like first 7 years. I probably lost because I was just stupid, and I'm really glad that I didn't like injure myself, because I was doing like stupid things back then. But after those 7 years, I think I achieved like a kind of like consistency, consequency, and like I know what to do, not to injure and bury myself with the training.
Bart, can I just clarify? What would you classify as stupid things? What are some beginner mistakes that you wouldn't want others to maybe make, and how could others maybe fast track their own performance so that they don't make stupid mistakes that you may have made?
Sure. So I remember when Sebastian Kienle said to Lionel Sanders that not every training is a competition, and that's true. So at the beginning, I was like thinking like that. If I was like running in a group, I wanted to be the fastest, and that was kind of stupid, because the slow run should be the slow run. Yeah, you should like probably you should rest for the intervals and for the hard work, not like do that on the slow runs. And I was doing this a lot, like 2 hard sessions, I would say. And then, for example, I was like scheduled for like Saturday and Sunday for 4 hours of bike ride or 2 hours of run, and I just couldn't, because I was already exhausted. Yeah, so that was probably the first thing I would say. Yeah, most likely. And I was completing too much, because I remember that once I had a year that for 12 weeks, I was in the competition every weekend. So including like 70.3s and like, I don't know, 8 or 9 5150 or kind of similar distances.
Yeah, absolutely. Guilty with all those same mistakes as well too. I actually used to race to actually get fit in my early days. I would almost race every weekend when I was kind of starting out, and that worked to a certain level. And then and then everything also was a competition in my own training way back when. And yeah, you break down though, don't you?
And to be honest, even right now, when I'm running, I'm just trying like to do that sometimes as you prescribe with the heart rate, but sometimes on the field, because I think I achieved kind of like the level that even if I'm like running in zone 2, it can be like tough sometimes. Like I feel it's tough. I see that my heart rate is like really low, yeah, but my tempo is like too fast, and I know that it will break my legs, yeah, like the day after or something like that, yeah.
So you kind of develop that feel and not just blindly go by the metrics.
Well, I still like, the more metrics you have, the better, but still, it's like I think zone 2 shouldn't be like RP, I don't know, 6 or 7, yeah. It should be probably more like 4, 3, something like that, I guess. So I'm trying to dial down that, yeah.
How did you first come across Athletica? How did you find us?
It's gonna sound harsh on my previous coaches, but basically most of the time there was like $2 for a training. Like they just like in the training peaks, they are just like moving the trainings into your schedule, and that's it. Yeah. I don't want that anymore. Yeah. I just want to probably be able to a little bit dial my trainings, and I was looking for something that was able, if I was performing like today really good or today really bad, to be able to like, calculate this overnight or during the week and like adjust, rather than prescribing me every time the same 10 minutes. Yeah. I would like to have like sometimes 8 minutes, sometimes 12 minutes, sometimes, so it's that's how I initially, and I'm professionally, I'm a programmer. So I was actually, the AI is like a boom for the, I don't know, past 2-3 years. So I was basically wanted to try, and I remember writing to you like a year ago when I started, and basically I was switching from the monthly subscription to the 1-year subscription, and I was like, yeah, let's give it a go, yeah. And I started like, actually, like I think it was like a year from now, I started training with Athletica.
And how have you found it?
I'm gonna be honest, I tried a few others as well, but and despite like the others sometimes have like a better mobile app or better view, etc., I really found this one like not really bloated with like a lot of things going on in the other apps, and I read your book, so basically I know that some of the probably trainings, yeah. Yeah, some of them are, there's like, I have few coaches who really like this book as well, and who are like prescribing the trainings from this book to their like, to the athletes, but basically I found it like, this is something I want to try, and this is something that probably will suit me in some way. So that's basically why did I choose Athletica. Yeah.
So, Bart, what are some of the endurance accomplishments you are most proud of? You've done a lot in these 12 years.
So I'm most proud of probably the Breaking 9, which was like 2-year goal for me. It wasn't easy, and I, like, to be honest, by the last 200 meters, I didn't know if I will be able to do that. And especially like after a bike, I finished the bike, and it was like I looked at my watch, and I was like, I have a 3 hours and 10 minutes, and I never broke 3:15 in marathon. Yeah. So I was like, I give it a go, but I don't know how it will work. Yeah. And the run course was like awful. It was like 6 loops, some cobblestone, some grass, etc. but I was like prepared, and only after like 5 laps I started to like feel it really. I started feeling like I don't know if I'm going to finish that one, yeah, because I was so tired already. But I was really driven by that I want to break these 9 hours. So that was the one really goal that I wanted to achieve. And honestly, the Ironman Lanzarote was also like a really good achievement, because I was always struggling in heat. And in Lanzarote, maybe it's not that hot, and you don't feel that because of the wind, but it's still like really hot. And especially there is a place you are running like around the airport when there is no aid station, because probably they cannot do that for like 3 or 4 kilometers. And I was like, and I was feeling strong. I was feeling strong on the run, which I was like impressed, because the bike is like, in the Lanzarote is like the toughest course probably. Maybe Nice is probably similar, I guess. But the Lanzarote, because of the winds, etc., could be like, heartbreaking, I would say. So I was really glad that for the first time in the heat I didn't break, and I was like, and I was feeling strong. I finished in 10:06, because I was like aiming a little bit for 10, yeah, obviously. But after like 32 kilometers, I know that it's not gonna happen. Not this day, yeah. I'm not going to like run another 10 kilometers in like 42 minutes, yeah. So I just like, probably the last 10 kilometers I a little bit enjoyed. So I started walking at the station, because for the 32 kilometers I didn't walk at all. So basically that's probably two of my like the achievements I'm really proud of, I would say.
Yeah, very, very cool, Bart. I'm just reflecting on Athletica ambassador Andy Boucher. His performance, his last performance prior to retirement in Lanzarote was 8:32, and he was 2 minutes, I believe, off the course record. But just to put it into perspective, just what an incredible performance you gave. A 10:06 or 10:08, can't remember what you said, is, it's remarkable and whatnot. When you compare that relative to the pros and the course record.
It was funny, because for the first time I could write to my friends that I joined your club. I'm a slow Ironman right now, because I didn't break 10 hours for the first time. Yeah, because the previous 5 I've done, I always broke 10 hours. So that's
Yeah.
How does your typical week of training and work look like?
Typically it's like 2 trainings a day. So usually one in the morning, and I'm swimming like at 6 a.m. With the master squad, which is kind of fine. But if it's not like a swim day, then probably I will run at the lunchtime, or maybe in the morning. And then usually it's the second training is after work, so like at 5 p.m., depending on how fast I can finish my work. And I was a little bit struggling when I was preparing for the Lanzarote, because I chose the high volume plan, and sometimes there were days when there are 3 trainings, which is not as easy, because you have to do like morning, lunch, and evening, yeah, because I didn't want to stack the trainings. I wanted to at least have like 2-3 hours between them. But to be honest, I handled that pretty well. There were only like 2, maybe 3 weeks, which had like all the days was like 3 trainings, I think, a day. But I knew what I signed for. Yeah, I wanted high volume plan. Then that's it. Yeah, and to be honest, with the high volume plan, I think the average hours for like 12 weeks or 15 weeks before the Lanzarote was like 15 hours, like average. So it's not like really high volume. Yeah, I don't think I ever got me like to 20 hours. Maybe when I was like walking in the mountains, I had like 22, 23. But like real training, it was like always between like 14, 13 to 18 hours, I would say.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And like there's purpose to that too, right? Like we're there's a lot of plans out there. I'm sure like we're mentioning the all the plans you've had on Training Peaks before, right? And it's not hard to push a plan to push it out to 30, 35 hours, right? We can all prescribe that huge amount of training, but what we try to do with Athletica in terms of the volume is we believe that by incorporating specific sessions, strength endurance sessions, high intensity interval training sessions, purposeful, you can get more bang for buck out of your hours. And you don't necessarily need these humongous volumes that we do see in others. It's individual, but this is generally our philosophy that we see gives better effects, a more holistic effect, and a healthier body ultimately to be able to recover better from these and build a more robust engine for events like you're doing.
I would probably say that probably most of us are not pros, are like amateurs. We have work, we have another life, etc. It's just a hobby, let's say. But and as you said, I don't know, I could probably try to go to 20 hours or something, but then I would probably be constantly tired, I would say, constantly, which I don't like, that feeling that when you go on every session you feel tired. It's not always that it's you feel tired, but it's fine. Yeah, you can still hit the I don't know, power numbers or tempo sessions, etc. But the constant feeling of tiredness is not great for the amateurs, I would say.
Yeah. Mariana, I'm sure you'd agree.
Totally. It's just my latest run. I woke up super tired after late nights this weekend with baseball, my kids' baseball, and I just had to get going. And then you feel better and actually feel really good after. Just to give context to listeners, what else do you do in your daily life? Do you have family? You work, obviously.
Yeah, I have a work, as I said, as I'm a code developer, and I have a fiance and I have a dog. We don't have kids yet, so that's why I enjoy High Volume Plan right now. That's probably the key. But yeah. I always responded pretty good for the low volume, high intensity. I would say I always responded to that good, and I think that's a key for amateurs. If you don't have time, probably don't do any kind of stupid hours. Yeah, stupid sessions. Just for the sake of volume, it's not worth it, I would say.
Yeah, totally. So what else do you obviously you do your training, you walk your dog, you go hike in the beautiful mountains in South Poland. Yeah. Do you record everything? And how do you, you said, you mentioned you swim with the swim squad. So do you use the Athletica swim sessions and just pull them on those squad swimming days? Or how do you organize the weekly sessions that you do with the group?
So basically, I'm trying to swim the amount of hours and probably the volume as Athletica prescribes, but I swimming with them. Yeah, so I don't follow here in the plan, and I think with the swimming is I don't know. I mean for the past 10 years, I'm swimming the same. I mean, I did not started swimming faster one year or the other. It's always, it's constantly the same. And I'm pretty satisfied with breaking 1 hour of swim in the Ironman. I'm fine with that. I probably don't want to swim 25Ks a week to achieve 58 minutes or 56. I don't think it's worth it. And I enjoy basically swimming with the club because it's at 6 a.m. So if you can say enjoying, I'm probably half sleeping then. But it's flies. Yeah, it flies really fast, I would say, at 6 a.m. So
yeah, it's good social time too.
Yeah.
For sure. And I just concur with your philosophy there too, Bart. Just two key points that you made. A lot of people do that where they've got their swim squad and they just, they know when the swim squad is happening. They drag an equivalent Athletica session to that placeholder and they record their swim in their swim squad. And yeah, like Paul mentioned, you get the social aspect. You get the aspect where you're you're chasing feet, or there might be someone that's slightly faster or whatnot in a lane beside you, or a lane or just in front of you, and then also in terms of swimming more hours in the pool just to get 2 minutes, that's not where you want to be putting if you're an Ironman or a half Ironman athlete, that's probably not where you want to be putting your effort. When you look at how much of the race is bike and run relative to that swim, you can get a lot more bang for buck of your time if you're putting it into either your bike or your run. And so it's you're doing things right, in my opinion.
So before an Ironman, it was like usually like 12 kilometers of swimming a week, like on average. I once hit like 18, but it was like I was like, oh, I don't want to do that ever again. And right now, since I only have like 70.3 in my site, I'm doing like about 10 kilometers a week, which is fine.
Nice.
Because just recently,
That's decent.
a week ago, I finished Challenge Gdańsk, which is like 70.3, and actually I swam like 29:30, so wasn't so bad.
Nice.
Very good.
Yeah. Talking about going forward, and what do you have in the race calendar?
Oh, in the race calendar, in the 3 weeks, I have another like 70.3 on flat, on like really flat surface. And then in September, I have a 70.3, but it's like in the mountains, like totally like running and everything is no, well, the swimming is in the lake, yeah, but like running, I probably will have to be with the backpack, etc. Because it's going to take like 3 hours, and the bike is like 4 times to the top and down. So in September, and then I have like plans for the next year. So probably the next year, the main goal would be 70.3 Mallorca, which I want to do. And in next year, I probably will focus more on 70.3s because we have a wedding. So probably I don't want to
Congrats.
Yay.
on Ironman yet. So
That's smart. Yeah, that's smart. So
Congratulations.
thank
yeah,
you.
congrats. That's
Congrats, that's awesome.
amazing. Yeah. How can we help? Like, what questions do you have for us?
So the first question probably, do you plan to have the mobile app or redesign a little of the? Yeah, I know. I'm reading the forum, so probably this is like the most common question. To redesign or have a mobile app or update it a little bit. So that's probably what gets me into, because nowadays I'm still like poking around into the training peaks, and I honestly would like to like resign from them to just like to have everything in Athletica, but just the mobile apps keeps me having them as well. So
Absolutely. It's a great question. And yeah, it's a very common comment. And some good news to announce, Bart. We'll say it right here. We have started the process of building a mobile app with some partners in Vietnam. And I'm just prior to this call, I was going through some wireframes of the mobile app. So this is going to be now just to be clear, the user, if you're a user in Athletica, you can already use the web browser,
yeah.
But so there is always that option. It is designed to be able to be web browser compatible. But nevertheless, we still recognize the importance of an exclusive mobile app, and we'll get benefits as well from the marketing standpoint, being on the App Store and the like. But that process that building process has already commenced. So yeah, it's hopefully a first version within 3 or 4 months will be released. So yeah, that's first question tick on its way Bart.
As to the other questions, I think like I was writing with you, Paul, during like last year a few times. You pointed me always to forum, so I always like write the topic in the forum, and I think I have like almost everything from the app. Like I can set like how many hours a day I want to train, what do I want to train. There is an option to do that. Let's say I want like 25% of swimming, like 35% of running. So that's also like covered. Maybe just some kind of like more variety in trainings, because like there is like a few sessions that drives me nuts already, which is like strength on the bike, which is like 4x10 or 3x10 in like low cadence. I know that this is like key session. I know that, but it's like when you are doing like 50 time in a row, like it can be tiring. And also running hills. That are like two sessions that are really like driving me sometimes nuts. But I'm doing it and I'm enjoying them from time to time. I don't know. It's about like difference. I think I don't like the low cadence work or something. I don't know, honestly.
Yeah, on the low cadence stuff, we actually on the sister podcast of this one, the Training Science podcast, we've had a few. I think it was Deo Saunders actually, who's one of the top Tour de France team coach / sports scientists. There's a real purpose to those low cadence sessions, and it's really it's actually not proven because we can't do muscle biopsies, but in general, with that high torque, high force, low cadence effort, right? You think of yourself, you're grinding up these hills. Yeah. There's a larger recruitment of the fast twitch muscle fibers in these. And what you want to do is you want to convert those powerful, larger, fast twitch muscle fibers over to being more fatigue resistant. And that's what we anecdotally say. I can't say that, there hasn't been a direct study where someone's actually looked at a fiber type conversion or anything like that, but that's anecdotally what Tour de France coaches and other sports scientists think that's kind of going on, because there's a real feel that you get a benefit from those sorts of efforts.
Yeah, before I asked the question, I knew already that there is no escape from the low cadence, but
in terms of the variety comment, are you do you ever leverage the workout wizard?
No. No, sorry.
You know about it?
Yeah, I know. Obviously, I clicked from time to time, but it's just like I honestly don't know why I do not use it. I'm just like, if I have a prescribed training and I can see it, I'm just like, yeah, let's go with it. It's fine. So like usually, yeah.
Well, yeah, I would just recommend, to your point, there's almost infinite variety within that workout wizard there, and it kind of answers your criticism. And if you just click on that workout wizard, you will have loads of like variety, changes in duration, changes in fatigue. There's even an injury context, and you, but you're going to get a similar, for most of those, you get a similar stress, but done a different way, and flips it around a little.
That I wanted to ask, like, if I choose the other one, if it's going to impact, like, like overall fitness, etc., like at the end.
Yeah. So that was the whole purpose, and it's probably not clear to you, and it's really good that we're having this conversation, because the purpose of the workout wizard is to provide a similar stimulus, hitting that same physiological target, but done a little bit of a different way. In accordance with your context. So they're all individualized to your own workout reserve, to your own physiology, but they're done like a little bit different to give you that variety. So, and I don't believe I know there's no other platform that can do those types of calculations. So it's kind of novel, kind of cool.
I think you nailed that you probably should promote that a little bit more, because I was under the impression that the default session is like the best, to be honest.
No, the default session is the kind of the benchmark. It's the benchmark that we anchor, but but everything else is kind of is very, very similar. I know Mariana uses it a fair bit. She's addicted to 40-20s, and which I don't necessarily agree with. I'm a 30-30 proponent, but she flips things around all the time.
That's just my personality. So a little bit of context. Like I've been using Athletica almost 3 years. So the same workouts are getting a little bit boring to me sometimes. And I'm kind of like you, Bart. Like I want to see that I've done the plan.
Yeah.
What is given to me, I want to follow it. But recently I realized that there are better workouts that fit me better. Like, for example, instead of doing 5 times 1K runs towards threshold, I think better to do the longer, like 3 times 2K runs. So I'm changing now. I'm going to Workout Wizard, and I'm changing the 1K intervals to 2K, because that, I think that works better for me, as my goal is to, increase my speed on the marathon at the end of Ironman. So, but yeah, 40-20s all the way. I love those.
So, Paul, what are 3 things you heard that will help Bart improve his health and performance?
Just continuing along the same pathway, the same consistency. I think the only potential work on for you, Bart, is to get in and leverage that Workout Wizard so that you are getting a little bit of variety. The sessions are a little bit more interesting to you. Especially as you become a little bit more of a seasoned and experienced athlete, you do need that mental shift and it's this facilitates the kind of the creative element in the craft that is your sport. But I'll just kind of revert back, Paul, if I may, just in terms of the key things that I heard in this podcast that were remarkable. The very first one is your transition, Bart, from a really, I guess, an unhealthy human, and there's just this transformation that you had when you had that abrupt, brain tumor and this awakening. You never would have thought that you could be a sub 9-hour Ironman and a top 50 Lanzarote finisher at that point. And that, maybe it's not that remarkable, but of a performance, but who knows, if you're a listener, who knows what is possible? Anything really is possible. That potential or some form of it sits within all of us. The other thing that you discovered along your journey was the importance of training consistency that comes out all the time. And in order to get that training consistency, the last one is really the key mistake that we all make as everyday athletes when we start in is training too hard. And you don't need to be at the front of the group. So get control of your ego, and you don't always have to race every weekend, even though it is kind of so exciting. Training easy, training consistently is really the road that you have followed, Bart, and hopefully you'll continue to follow as you move forward with your next goals. And wishing you all the best with that.
Thank you. Just one thing I can add is that I never was thinking like about the Ironman and triathlon like something that I want just to do and to get over it. I always was thinking like I want to do it probably to the end of my life. So I really enjoy training. I really enjoy. So I probably, it's not something that even if I will, I don't know, like do 8:30 or whatever, I will not stop. Yeah. It's just like, I love it. That's it.
Well, that is all for this week. Thank you for listening, and join us next week for the Athletes Compass podcast. You can help us by asking your training questions in the comments and in the forum, liking and sharing the podcast, giving us 5-star reviews, and engaging with us on our social media. For Bart Buczek For Mariana Rakai and Dr. Paul Larson, I am Paul Warloski, and this has been the Athletes Compass Podcast. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed another episode of the Athletes Compass Podcast, your North Star through the sometimes complicated world of training for your endurance sport. For a deeper dive into the science of endurance sports, listen to the Training Science Podcast and check out the adaptive AI training platform, Athletica AI. And thanks.